Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex with my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. And today we want to talk about a couple of different things ranging from Kenny Golladay, who he was actually yelling at, and Saquon Barkley, and what we kind of saw from him in the running game. Of course, he's had some issues getting going in the first 2 weeks of the season. Definitely still getting his legs back under him after the knee injury and really rehabilitating and getting himself right. It's going to take some time, but we want to take a look at really what's going on because not all of it is him hesitating. There is a lot of scheme issues. There is a lot of run blocking issues. We want to just take a look at some of that film later on. But we also want to talk about Kenny Golladay. How is he going to get more involved? Why was he yelling at Jason Garrett? A lot of interesting things going on before we head into week 3 against Atlanta. Of course, we'll be doing some more film breakdowns as the week goes on, talking about any news that does come up. But for now, let's focus on Kenny Golladay, how the Giants plan to use him a little bit more. But before we do that, Anthony, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing real good. I'm happy that we finally got confirmation on who Kenny Golladay was yelling at, and I'm very happy that he wasn't yelling at Daniel Jones, because obviously anytime your star wide receiver that just joined the team is yelling at your quarterback, that's a horrible look for the organization as a whole. It's a bad look for Kenny Golladay, and it probably wouldn't even be a good look for Daniel Jones in that aspect, but thankfully that's not the situation. Rather, Kenny Golladay was yelling at who we all were yelling at, Jason Garrett. We've all been yelling at Jason Garrett since week 2 of last year. So if he's yelling at him in week 2 of this year, hopefully that motivates Jason Garrett to be a better version of himself and coach the team a little bit better and call some better plays. And I said this a few days ago when we were recording and we were suspecting that maybe he was actually yelling at Garrett instead of Jones. Once he started yelling at him, from that point on, the Giants' offense seemed significantly better. I feel like it improved. I feel like the Giants started playing a better game. They started moving the ball with a lot more efficiency up until obviously that final drive where they played it super conservatively. But that you actually have to place on Joe Judge instead of Jason Garrett because he said to play it conservatively and go for the field goal. So ultimately, we did not win that game, but Jason Garrett did get chewed out, and hopefully Kenny Golladay chewing Jason Garrett out will lead to a better offense in the future. It seems like it's already started to do that. So hopefully in week 3, Giants versus Falcons, maybe the Giants offense could come out swinging and Kenny Golladay can finally have his breakout performance with the Giants.
Well, that's what we're hoping for, right? We're hoping that Kenny Golladay can slowly take steps forward in this offense. Obviously, in week 1, had a quiet game. He had 6 targets, caught 4 passes for 64 yards. In week 2, he had a lot more action, but he didn't catch as many yards, really just shorter stuff for him. The Giants really getting the RPOs worked in with Daniel Jones, Saquon, and Kenny Golladay, which is going to be a big point that I want to talk about in a little bit. But he did have 8 targets for 3 catches and 38 yards. I think this week against the Falcons, I think I'm going to start him this week in fantasy football over Sterling Shepard just because I think that they're going to try and attack vertically this Atlanta Falcons defense that's allowed 30-plus points over the past 2 weeks, including 48 last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're really letting quarterbacks run all over them. Receivers do a lot of damage, and I think this is the game that Kenny Golladay can really make his mark. Show us that he's earning that $75 million contract we just gave him. But last week, he only caught 37.5% of his passes. Did not look that great. He hovered around the similar mark of 84% of offensive snaps. He had 58 total snaps, and I think the Giants are trying to get him more work than Anthony. But when you're looking at him right now, do you think that the RPOs is really how they're trying to get him involved?
Yeah, and actually, I think I'm going to do a little film breakdown on the RPOs because the Giants really simplified the game for Daniel Jones by using those RPOs. They got Kenny Golladay involved with the RPOs. I think that it would be a great way for them to get Kadarius Toney involved using RPOs, maybe on some bubble screens or even putting him in the backfield even, or maybe just having him run those easy slants where the middle of the field is a wide open because when the Giants were running these RPOs, as you'll see when I do this breakdown, they are getting the middle of the field so open, it's ridiculous. Like it's just wide open. They're really sucking the whole defense in with Saquon Barkley because Saquon Barkley, even though he's not the player that he was because he's injured and he's working his way back and the blocking isn't there, we're going to go over all of that. We're going to go over Saquon Barkley and all the factors going against him. But the defense is still keying in on him. When they see a play fake to Saquon Barkley, they still take note of that. And some linebackers still shoot the gaps and try and get into the box and try and make a play. So that's just sucking in those linebackers, sucking in that defense, and opening things up for a Kenny Golladay slant or a Sterling Shepard slant, right? It's opening things up over the middle of the field, which is going to be super beneficial for Daniel Jones. It's really opening things up in the offense for him and making things easier to read. It's just a really easy, simple one read. You know it's there or you don't. If the running lane is there, you hand it off. If it's not, you know that your receiver is going to be open as long as he beats his man. Kenny Golladay had one of the plays where he didn't beat his man and it turned into an incompletion. The coverage by the cornerback was really good, but he had another play where he did beat his man. They got a nice first down out of it. So those RPOs really make things very easy for Daniel Jones. It's just a very simple read. It's either you hand it off because the running lane is there, or you don't, and you know that your man is there. So I really like the RPOs. I think they're a great installment into this offense, real great addition. We really didn't run them a whole lot last season. I don't remember. I watched a lot of Giants film last year, but I don't recall them using RPOs with the emphasis that they placed on it in week 2. They placed a heavy emphasis on it in week 2. I don't remember any game last year where they placed that much of an emphasis on it. So I think that's exciting. I think that's a really good thing that Jason Garrett has gone ahead and implemented, because if you look at week 1, right, we were saying Daniel Jones is not getting off his first read. He's just playing one read quarterback. But this RPOs, all you have is one read. So one read quarterbacks really do strive with the RPOs if they're good at making that first initial read. So it's really simplifying things for Daniel Jones when they're using those RPOs. And yes, it's going to help get Kenny Golladay more involved, because it's going to lead to more one-on-one opportunities for Kenny Golladay. And typically, a fully healthy Kenny Golladay, one-on-one opportunity, contested catch, he's going to haul that in at least 75% of the time.
Yeah, that's big facts. And I think that, having Saquon Barkley full health is going to open up the game, especially for the RPOs, for Kenny Golladay as well, and Daniel Jones when they're doing the read options and whatnot. A lot of different elements going on here. Good tackle play is a big part of that, because it takes a second for that RPO to unfold, for Dan Jones to get his head up and really look at the wide receiver, see if he's open. On that first drive of the game against Washington, he did just that, and he nailed Kenny Golladay for a really nice throw on a slant. And then he really got his head up quickly and got the ball out for a strike. And I think that, Kenny Golladay is going to be more involved in that way, but it's a little different than how, teams have used him in the past, specifically Detroit with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford really targeted him deep, right? During his Pro Bowl season in 2019, he had an average of yards per reception of 18.31. And he never really averaged more than 10 targets a game. He really hovered around the 7 to 9 range. But the thing is, they were really targeting him downfield, which is where he thrives. And I think that it was less RPOs, more vertical concepts, jump balls, and man coverage, getting him the ball up top, which I think the Giants want to do as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how they balance this out. They want specific coverage looks. They're waiting for specific looks to give Kenny Golladay opportunities. The thing is, he doesn't really need those looks all the time. The thing is, I also think that Daniel Jones throws a very different ball than guys like Matthew Stafford, maybe guys like Aaron Rodgers. He throws laser beams. And I think that it might not actually be super beneficial for Kenny Golladay to have that type of ball thrown to him. I think he's better off getting those lofters, right? If Daniel Jones can give him some loft underneath of it, allow him to use that height and that wingspan to go up and catch it, the laser beams don't all the time benefit him, because it allows guys to undercut them. If it's high up and he's throwing rainbows to Kenny Golladay in single coverage, he can really go up and out jump the cornerback and get the ball. The problem is when he's throwing those line drives on a rope, sometimes the cornerback can get to it easier. He has the height to jump, or he has the wingspan. So I think maybe Daniel Jones and Kenny Galladay's chemistry might have to adapt in some way there. What do you think about that concept, though, Anthony? That maybe Daniel Jones, the ball he's throwing to him, just might not be that beneficial for Kenny, but maybe he should really give him some rainbows in those man coverage situations, give him a chance to go up and get it.
Yeah, I think it depends on the coverage look, because of course when you got like a cover one, I remember there was that play where they did have, I think, a single high safety look, and he threw that seam route to Kenny Golladay. It just went right off Kenny Galladay's hand. They just missed it ever so slightly. On that play, if you're talking about the velocity of the throw, it probably should have been a throw that should have been behind Kenny Golladay, more back shoulder. He kind of let it over him, but also put a little too much zip to kind of drop it in the bucket. So I just think that was really just a lack of chemistry, right? These guys haven't played much together. They barely played together in the training camp. Kenny Golladay was hobbled with a hamstring injury, which I now share with him after my IM football game last night. Flag football, pulled my hammy, real fun. But share that with Kenny Golladay. That does hurt you. That does hamper your ability to run and get under passes. And he sat out for a very long time and missed out on a lot of practice with Daniel Jones because of that. And that's probably the difference between completing and not completing that pass that we're talking about, because Kenny Golladay might like that ball with a little more air under it, or he might like it behind him so he can do the back shoulder. Slayton might like it right over his shoulder, which I don't think is true because he always drops those. But other receivers, let's say Sterling Shepard, might like it right over his shoulder the way that Daniel Jones threw it. So that's how he's used to throwing it. So he always puts it in that spot with that velocity. But Kenny Golladay doesn't like it like that. Those are like the little nuances of NFL and wide receiver chemistry, and NFL quarterback and wide receiver chemistries that we don't fully understand until we see it in real time. And this seems like one of those situations where they just weren't on the same page over where Kenny Golladay likes that ball to be and how he likes to make that catch. In week one, obviously, he went up there and like Superman, a couple catches out of defensive back's hands, Kenny Golladay being the contested catch monster that we all expected him to be. But I just think that these two aren't fully on the same page right now. They'll get on the same page probably this next week. They'll get on it soon enough, and it should be really, really fun to watch once they do get on the same page, because we know how dangerous Kenny Golladay can be in single coverage. That was a single coverage play that they didn't find success on. But going forward, I think that they'll continue to build that chemistry, continue to figure out what each player likes and where they like the football. And then that chemistry will strengthen and they'll start connecting on those big plays.
Yep, and that's what we're hoping for. That's what you signed Kenny Golladay for. Big possession receiver, 6'4", massive wingspan. He's the type of receiver that doesn't need 3-4 yards of separation to make a catch. All he needs is 1 yard of separation in that ball outside, right? If there's a guy trailing him from 1 yard behind, that from in context, with yards of separation, that's not good. Having only 1 yard is not good, but his wingspan is 2 or 3 yards. So if you throw it outside of him, that's 4 yards of separation right there. You have to think about that. When you're talking about Kenny Golladay specifically, because the radius, his wingspan, really gives him that much more reach and that much more of a separation and when it comes to a cornerback. So I would like to see that develop. I think the Giants will get that, I kind of ironed out as the season progresses here. But I do want to just give a shout out to our sponsor. If you want to get advantage of your sportsbook, you need to download BetQL, the only app you need to make a smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from spreads, over and unders, and player prop bets. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do the research yourself? BetQL has all the necessary tools for your research needs. Head over to the App Store and Google Play Store now to download BetQL. You can also head to try.betql.co/fireside to get started now. Enter the discount code Fireside at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. You can find all this information in the description of this video on YouTube. Make sure to check out their BetMGM offer in the description in order to receive a free year of BetQL. Also, check out their sportsbook offers page if you live in one of the eligible states to claim free offers upon signing up at one of the many sportsbooks listed. But one of the big ones they want us to tell you guys that BetQL's best bet algorithm went 13-2 on 5-star bets for week 1. NFL games between Thursday and Sunday. They've been absolutely killing it. If you bet $10 or $100 on each one of their 5-star or 4-star bets, they're pretty much telling you you're going to walk away positive. Obviously, there's no guarantees ever, but for the most part, they're pretty much killing it, and I highly recommend checking it out if you guys are into sports betting. So much love, as always, my friends. Let's go head over to the Saquon Barkley portion of this video. We're going to check out some of his film, check out what's going on there, and really if it's his fault because of the injury or some blocking miscues. There's a lot going on here, but I think the Giants' run game is really running through Daniel Jones right now, who has more rushing yards than Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and he has more touchdowns on the ground than all of them. So pretty insane there, statistic, but let's go head over and check out Saquon Barkley. All right, guys, so we're over to the Saquon Barkley portion of this episode. Just taking a look at some runs here. What's going on? Is it scheme-related? Is his knee, bothering him? Is Kyle Rudolph just missing blocks, or is it Chase Young dominating? Is the run blocking adequate? There's a couple of different things going on here. Overall, the blocking hasn't been great when it comes to running the football, which is why Daniel Jones is currently the leading blocker on those read option runs. But Saquon definitely has his fair share of struggles in this game. He has a couple instances where he misses the hole, or he doesn't show that usual explosion that you'd see, or he just, is hesitating too much. But let's jump right into it here. Just a little draw. And here, this is where you'd, in the red zone, just try and pick up as much yardage as you can, right? Just go right up the middle here. Don't try and bounce this outside. This is, where Saquon makes his money, bouncing it outside and trying to hit the home run. But do that closer to midfield. You're not trying to do this in the red zone when there's guys all around you. Just take the couple of yards, churn up field, try and get 3-4 yards out of this play. Instead, he bounces it outside and gets stopped nearly for a loss. And I think Anthony is going to concur that he should have just kind of get as much yardage here as possible when the play is blown up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do when the play is blown up at the line of scrimmage? Of course, you're going to see him take this inside zone handoff, and I don't know, man. 97. I don't know which one that is. They've got a bunch of really good players on that defensive line. I believe that's Jonathan Allen. Just kind of blows up Billy Price here. Billy Price didn't have a very good game. I wasn't too excited with the way that he played. I know we traded for him. Now we've got, real lack of depth all over the place, but this is just a really poor job. You see, he tries to make up for it and seal it at the end. I do think that Saquon should have just ran right into 31 and picked up the yards that was there for him. He tries to bounce it outside. I don't think that was the right decision, but if you watch this play over again, you're going to see he comes up here. He definitely has a lane. Let me see if I can pause it right here. Not here. Hold on. Let me see right here. This is where you see him bouncing this outside. He shouldn't be bouncing this outside because Billy Price, as badly as he got beat, he does recover. You see him trying to seal off 97 right there. This is where Saquon Barkley just needs to go straight upfield because he has 4 yards until 31. He can probably run through 41 and gain 5 to 7 yards here. So he bounces us outside and the Giants lose yardage. But personally, I don't understand what he saw here that made him want to bounce it out. Probably the fact that Billy Price got beat. But if you look at Nick Gates, on 53 doing a phenomenal job. He's got him sealed off. Bostic is not getting to Saquon. So it's really 31 to beat. If Saquon can just get through this hole, make 31 miss, it's just him and Landon Collins for the end zone. So this bounce outside here, we talked about this a lot last season and even the season before. Barkley is always looking for that home run play. I think that's what he was doing on this play, looking for that home run, not taking what was in front of him. Billy Price, yes, got blown up initially, but he did recover. Saquon could have gone through this hole that he was supposed to go through. Instead, he tries to bounce it outside, but the play was designed for him to run right through that hole. 31 is in that hole, so I understand why he might be hesitant. But 31 is also probably 70 pounds lighter than Saquon Barkley. Saquon, put your head down, run through him, and gain that 4 to 5 yards that is right there for you. So that's my gripe with Saquon on this play. Again, I understand the blocking isn't the best, but there was something here, and Saquon chose not to take advantage of it. He definitely could have put his foot in the ground, turned upfield, and gained 4 to 5 yards. He just was looking for the home run.
Yeah, and I will say I'd like to see the Giants do a couple of things down the line. Maybe on this kind of like fake jet sweep they have with Sterling Shepard here, maybe run a counter and have him block on the edge. Maybe that's something that I would like to see the Giants do. Clearly, and I continue to say this, Saquon Barkley is not a power runner. He is not inside the tackle runner or inside zone runner. He is not the type of guy that instinctually wants to churn out yardage inside. That is a Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott type of running back. That's what you have Devontae Booker for. If you want to run inside zone, let Devontae Booker run straight ahead as hard as he possibly can and churn out as many yards as possible. Wayne Gallman, they should have kept him if they were going to continue to do this because this is the type of runner that Wayne Gallman is, a downfield north-south runner who picks up yards like this. Saquon Barkley is a glorified scat back that you need to be getting him into space, which is why I think counters here would probably be a better option because if you look at the outside, if he runs a counter here to the outside, you have if this play is designed that way, you'll have Andrew Thomas and these guys sealing off that edge and then Sterling Shepard filling this gap here on 23 on the outside, and he has a clear run to the end zone. I think maybe the Giants hopefully see this on the film and maybe say, let's try running some counters next game. Clearly, this inside zone power running scheme is not really working that well because Saquon Barkley instinctually doesn't want to run through that. You'll see that in a little bit. He hesitates really a lot and doesn't show that explosion. And then you will see him have a nice run with a really great block by Caden Smith later. And eventually, sometimes, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. Every now and then he'll have a big run, but it's just not enough, right? It's not enough for us to be like, they should be running power inside zone all the time. He instinctually wants to bounce it outside, and I think that for the most part, they should be, honoring that strength of his instead of forcing him to play to a weakness. But let's keep going here. This is better. This is what we wanted to see on the first play. Just take the yards. But again, I don't like the call. I think that when you're here, the offense is doing really well. You're passing the football really well. Start passing the ball. I don't know. I don't like these runs.
I mean, this is a good run, though. If we're focusing on Saquon Barkley here, this is what you're supposed to do. You see there's not that much ahead, but you do see this little hole right here. 52 is obviously creeping up, but nah, this is fine. This is exactly what you want. You're just trying to gain 4 to 5 yards. He does the right thing. He just puts his head down and gains the yardage. This is exactly what a running back is supposed to do. So we just, criticize him on the last play for having a hole very similar to this one and bouncing it outside. Clearly, he understood that he did the wrong thing and he corrected it, because this time he doesn't bounce it outside. He sees the hole and he takes it, which is good. You want him to learn from his mistakes. He's in his third season, so if he's not learning from his mistakes by now, when will he ever? So right here, he learned from that initial mistake. He just sees the hole and he takes it, and they gain 4 yards. So this is a really good run right there. That's what you want a veteran running back to do.
Yeah, and again, I think I still think counter would be the way to go. If they do see this and they want to run that play, this is a great look. If he puts his right foot in the ground and goes across the line of scrimmage, you have a tight end coming across the formation in Caden Smith, I believe, and you have a wide open gap. You have 31 right there. All you got to do is break one tackle and you're to the house. So, maybe they see this on film. Maybe they say, okay, let's run this exact same play, but counter it, have Caden Smith come across the line of scrimmage, and then see what's good.
What this play is inside zone split, and the zone split is going to be when the tight end comes across the formation and makes that block. And basically what he's doing is just sealing that edge. So if you rewind, there's one tackle sealing the edge on the right side, obviously, because that's the side that they're running to. But you don't want that backside defender to come and get the running back from behind. So they bring the tight end across to make that block and seal that edge. So it's still inside zone. They're running it up the middle. But yes, there are variations of it where you could definitely pull a counter run out there and maybe try and set this up. But on this specific play, the play design was just to seal the edges so that he has a nice, inside zone running lane.
Yeah, and I still think like one of Barkley's biggest weaknesses is his vision on the inside zone running lanes. He doesn't always see that hole. I think giving him that extra little bit right here, if you run that counter, look at all the space he has to work with. He can say, okay, maybe I want to bounce it outside. Maybe I want to just run up the gut here, right between Chase Young and really run behind this. I think it's another tight end. I think they're doing 12 personnel, so I think it's Kyle Rudolph. So if he just runs right behind Kyle Rudolph, if he can block off Chase Young, and just try and ground out some yards there. Maybe that's something they can try and do in the future. Of course, we're just, nitpicking now, but clearly it's worthwhile to talk about because Saquon Barkley is not having great success running these inside zone splits, like you mentioned before. His vision in that area sometimes lacks. He tries to bounce it outside, tries to do.
It was good on this play though. He did the right thing on this play. He saw the hole and he got his yardage.
Again, usually it's not that good. You know what I mean? Usually, he's not the type of runner. If you even have Wayne Gallman running the exact same play, he probably grinds out an extra yard or two. You know what I mean? Or Ezekiel Elliott or Derrick Henry. He's just not that type of runner, which is what I'm trying to get at, which, isn't really that good in my opinion in terms of scheme. But let's continue on. Let's continue forward here. So I think this next run is the big one. Yeah. Okay. So this is after the Nick Gates injury, the play after the Nick Gates injury. And this is a great job, right? This is a nice little halfback draw. And I think that what makes this play is Caden Smith. And Caden Smith had a great game. He needs to be featured more. He should be on the field a good amount with Evan Ingram, in my opinion. I think he should be playing over Kyle Rudolph after the game he had last week. Look, I love Kyle Rudolph. I think he contributes probably most in the red zone if they're going to really target him there. But Caden Smith is a good player, and they refuse to use him. I really hope that they get him more involved moving forward. Hopefully they do that because this is a great block. And you're going to see from the all-22 angle, he seals this. And this is the only reason Saquon makes this play is because Caden Smith seals this block off. And Barkley really, look, like I said before, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. Every now and then you're going to have an inside zone run that hits home. And you'll see, look at Caden Smith in that right in the middle there, right in that A gap, bam, he seals that. That is where Barkley makes his money. He, bursts through that hole and he shows that nice explosion that we know and love from him. I mean, Chase Young is on his horse though, man. Chase Young is a fast son of a gun. Look at him. Holy shit. Look at him go. He's so fast.
Yeah, Chase Young is an animal, but this is a trap running scheme, right? This is a trap block by Caden Smith that we're referring to. He does a phenomenal job on this trap block. If you actually watch it, he almost whiffs on it, and then he sees it at the last second, turns and seals. He does a great job sealing the defender. In terms of it being a trap block, I'll break that down for everyone who doesn't know. A trap block is when you let a defender run through unblocked, and then a rotating blocker comes and makes the block. So that's exactly what happened. 55 came through unblocked as he was supposed to. It was designed on this play. But then Caden Smith at the last second rotates over, seals that block, and then creates this hole for Saquon Barkley. That's where the hole was always supposed to be. Caden Smith was a little late getting there, but he did get there and he did seal him off. So he does a great job there. And then it's just up to Saquon Barkley to have some good vision and make a play. He has great vision on this play, bounces it outside, stiff arm, and that's all she wrote, 41 yards down the field. Great play design by Jason Garrett, really great play call. And great block by Caden Smith.
Yep, absolutely. So let's take a look here. Yeah, I mean, this is, again, Kyle Rudolph. Caden Smith looked better all around, in my opinion, over Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph completely, I mean, I don't understand the scheme that has Kyle Rudolph actually trying to block Chase Young here. I don't know why Nate Solder doesn't chip him first or at least help. I know Nate Solder is supposed to be pulling inside, but you're not doing Saquon Barkley any help, any favors when you're letting Kyle Rudolph go up against Chase Young.
Yeah, I don't really understand what the blocking scheme is here. I kind of completely agree with that. I don't know why Chase Young would be lined up on Kyle Rudolph. I'm trying to see it right now and figure it out. I almost want to say that this might be on Nate Solder. Maybe there was supposed to be a combo block. I think that they're trying to run duo and get as many double teams out there as they can. If you see that from the center and left guard, definitely running a variation of duo, but I just don't think that they actually duo on the most important guy on the field, which ultimately leads to tackle for loss because Chase Young, like I said, is an animal. He's one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. So,
yeah, if anything, I would rather have seen Nate Solder block Chase Young and then Kyle Rudolph just pull around the edge and be that gap filler. But here, again, the blocking is just not that good. The scheme just isn't that good yet. They're still trying to figure things out. Bostic really gets the angle here on and Andrew Thomas. It's just a good play by him. And then the throw, as Anthony said before we started this film review, is a little too outside. Saquon doesn't have enough time to even react really. So it's just kind of
if you look at it from this angle where I paused it right now, this looks like it's well blocked. This is well executed. Saquon Barkley runs this outside of the left tackle, though. So we were giving Caden Smith credit for sealing off, right? And he's doing it again here. Great job by Caden Smith. If you see him right there, closer to the line of scrimmage, he's sealing again, and he's opening up a lane for Saquon Barkley. So shout out to Caden Smith for that. But Andrew Thomas is also sealing. However, Saquon Barkley's going around the outside of the seal, which is why he's going to get tackled here. I think this pitch led him a little too far outside. He really should be trying to follow 68 and just go straight, like, right on the back of Caden Smith there. Caden Smith is sealing. He should almost get really close to Caden Smith. Instead, he's like 7 yards away from Caden Smith. He's just way too far outside. I don't know if it's because he decided to go that way or if the pitch led him too far outside and it was just a bad throw by Daniel Jones. But this really should have gone straight downhill from this point, but he continues to drift outside and then eventually just runs right into Andrew Thomas's guy. So not the best execution of a pretty cool play design.
Yeah, and the last one here is really just Saquon not showing that explosiveness, that burst, this inside zone. This is where we're missing the old Saquon. Like right here at this moment, I'll try and pause it. Right there is where you'd usually see him bounce us outside, stiff arm a guy, and maybe take it for a longer run. But he hesitates badly at the point of attack here. Right here, he stutter steps. He sees that. Usually, I mean, it's a big guy. Like usually he'd be able to use his arm, create some space, and bounce it outside. But he hesitates. He sees that defender over there, and he's like, you know what? The last time I did this against Chicago, Eddie Jackson jumped on my back, and my knee got really injured. So I'm just going to take this one, maybe for a yard, maybe get back to the line of scrimmage. You can see his confidence just really isn't there yet. You can see he tries to bounce it outside, and then immediately he's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then he just collapses. It goes down. I get it, still getting it back, still getting that knee strengthened. I'm not blaming him for this whatsoever. I'm just trying to say that like he is still dealing with this injury, is still getting better and rehabilitating through live action. So it's a part of the process, and we have to be patient with him as he gets that confidence back and really gets going, guys. But just to show you some clips of Saquon Barkley, what's going on with him? Is it the blocking? Is it his knee? It's really a combination of a lot of different things: the scheme, the blocking. His hesitancy with the rehabilitation of that knee injury. So as things go along, he will get better. I'm pretty confident of that. But for now, Daniel Jones is picking up a lot of the slack. He's leading the team in rushing with 122 yards and 2 scores, my friends. But make sure to subscribe below on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. As always, my friends. Once again, thank you to our sponsor, BetQL, the only app you'll need to beat your sportsbook. Find the information along with a 25% off discount code in the description of this video, and also check out the special BetMGM offer in the description in order to receive a free year of BetQL and the other sportsbook sign-up offers and bonuses, my friends. We'll catch you guys on the next New York Giants video.